shades. You're like, wow, life couldn't be better. You're on the golf course. Wow.
Well, I'm in the bar at the edge of the golf course, but yes, I'm on a golf course.
You know what? We were talking about you today because I was telling my daughter about how Florida, man. I'm just, she was saying about places that are not strictly locked down. I'm saying, yeah, in Florida, they're out, my friend Marcel's out in restaurants, bars. We were hailing today. Just insane. Absolutely bloody crazy.
Yeah. We're not so locked down now.
I was watching the Champions League thing last night, Steve, and I was like, holy shit, is that snow on the ground? Like, was that snow or hail or something?
Exactly. I was in the car, man. I just wasn't even going to get out the car from the house. I thought I'd just let it carry on. It was covered in hail. I was
like, holy shit. Yeah, it's crazy.
It's insane. It's just...
that's crazy.
I'm gonna be quiet, Marcel, man. I've been so busy here. How do you?
That's good.
Work
busy doing what? Selling stuff or?
No, I wish. No. Sawing a door.
Yeah. Sawing a door.
Sawing a door. Exactly. Yeah. That's
Cosmo, I feel like I just saw you 3 hours ago or something.
I know. It's amazing.
I was up in Orlando at the Martin demo, and Cosmo was there.
Yeah, thank you guys for going out. The guys were happy to see you, and they said it was good connecting with folks and laughing their asses off and all the other stuff.
It was fun. It was fun. And there's no Roby. There's no Roby guys here yet, so we can talk about how it blew away the BMFL. But if Craig shows up, it's hush hush. All right, everyone be quiet.
Was Brad Schiller out with it?
No, he's in Chicago, I think.
He's in Chicago, and it's crazy, you guys. We went from Monday. We were in 3 different cities with 12 or 15 people on the team, literally out in the field, and just we were commenting late in the day that wow, this feels really good. Right?
Yeah, it's funny. I was talking to Fuller and I said, why aren't you over there listening to the presentation? And he goes, because I'm already sick of it. And I said, well, how long have you had the fixture? And he said, since Monday. Or since Wednesday or whatever, but they've been demoing it since Monday, and I'm like, dude, seriously, 3 days and you're sick of it?
Yeah, but keep in mind we've been giving the virtual presentation for 2 months.
Yeah,
so he has heard it probably about 40 times. So
yeah,
but it was good seeing the guys. Were happy to see you guys, so thank you.
I will say it was a little shocking to see it next to the BMFL. I actually I could send you a picture or share a picture or whatever, but. They measured and there was no trickery. I mean, they matched the color temperature, they matched the size of the beam and everything, and it was literally double, 35 feet. So,
well, we hope we can.
It was interesting.
Prove it to everybody on this call and even more in person.
Yeah, cool. Mm-hmm. But it was even more fun seeing Cosmo. I got to admit, it was better than seeing the Martin Light. It's fun to see Cosmo, fun to see some other people. Chaz, it was at Chaz's shop, so we saw Chaz. Mm-hmm. Went to lunch at Rock and Brews. Yeah.
I know. I want to go see a demo at Bob Harmon's shop.
That's right. Don't we all?
A good thought.
Yeah. How many manufacturers have to sponsor that, Bob? And you have the space, right?
I definitely have the space.
Okay.
Hey, so
field trip to Bob.
Well, I gave Cosmo a shirt today that like a Hawaiian shirt. I'm wondering if anyone else on this call got it. It was swag that Perry, the pass company, gave away at LDI probably 20 years ago, and or maybe it wasn't LDI, maybe it was Performance or something. But it was a shirt, like a Hawaiian shirt, like what Cosmo wears, but with all the Jimmy Buffett backstage passes on it, all the laminates. Did anyone else get one of those? I mean, I kind of feel special that I'm the only one that got it, but it's been hanging in my closet for 20 years, wondering what the hell I'm going to do with it. And finally I went, I know, I'll give it to Cosmo. So
I mean,
immediately he puts it on eBay for $250.
I was definitely 18 years
350.
old, so
yeah, you were -2. Yeah. No, I'm amazed there was some on eBay for $250. No, Now he's wearing the same one.
And then another one sold for $34. So,
which is bizarre. That had to be a
Never
fake.
know.
That had to be a fake. Matt House Cruise Ship World.
So Steve, I
good,
missed
Kim.
your intro. Are you in snow because you're in Switzerland?
Hang on.
I wish. Oh, you can't be kidding. You're the one who's in somewhere beautiful.
Hang on
I'm
a
in.
second.
Yeah, I'm south of London. Where's Matt? Matt, where are
Is it
you?
snowing in London?
Yeah, where the hell is Matt? That's the weekly series.
Greece.
I'm in Athens, Greece right now. After 6 days doing this, going from Cyprus to Greece, we're finally here and we're just hanging out. I got
We meaning you and your beers, right? Is we.
they give us free beer. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
but you
Matt,
don't
you gotta
have
weigh
any human
yourself.
interaction.
Hey, Matt, weigh yourself now and then weigh yourself when you're done with this project.
I'm actually working out because there's not much else to do. So
I see
hopefully
that.
I'm losing weight.
Do
I
they bring
see.
the buffet to your room?
They bring us 3 square meals a day. They temperature check us. Yesterday, actually, though, I was out on the captain's balcony, whatever this balcony thing we have here, and the sun was beating on us. It was a beautiful morning. We were out on the water. I was just like taking it all in. And then I get a knock on the door to do a temperature check and pulse ox check. And he immediately puts the thermometer on my forehead and it goes red. He goes, "Get in your room right now." And I was like, oh shit. He thought I had like my temperature spike because of COVID. So I was like talking to him through the door. I was like, "I was in the sun, come back in 10 minutes." It was fun.
Matt,
We had a laugh.
Matt, when you say we, is it that you've gone crazy already and created an imaginary friend, or
Me and
who's
my
the we?
12 friends I'm sharing this room with. Yeah.
There you go.
We have, oh, can you hear me?
Yep.
Internet's weird. So. There's about 700 crew right now that's quarantining on the ship. So we're just all waiting to get out.
Yeah, cool.
So, but yeah, it's cool. Something to do. It's midnight here. So what else am I going to do?
Funny thing happened. So I just saw Rob Gibson pop in. Rob texts me last night and he sends me a picture of something listed on Gear Source. It's a copy of a MA wing, and it says MA wing copy on the listing, right? And he goes, "I think this is a fake." And I said, it says it's a fake, Rob. In the listing. And so he says, "Well, what's your policy with this kind of thing?" And I'm like, "I'm not sure. I don't know that I've ever had a fake MA wing." Within about 45 seconds, Ben, who's also on this call somewhere, sends me a text and goes, "Hey, what is this?" And I'm like, "It's a fake." And he goes, "It's a fake." "Yeah, it's a fake." "Right. Oh, it's a fake." So anyways, it was funny how quickly that got around.
Sorry, Marcel.
I have
It's all good. It's all good.
I would, however,
I
like to add that as quickly as it got around, it does still seem to be live on the site.
Well, I think we sold like 4 of them today, so it's a good listing. We sold more of those than we did real wings today. So.
Well, I have a friend looking for a MA2 wing, and so I was on there trying to help him, and
Yeah.
I was like, and it's a good price, $1,200.
Yeah.
For a fake.
Yeah, I don't know. Brad and Carrie, who manages our listings, were looking into it today. So I don't know what ended up happening, but.
So speaking of fake, though, did you guys see something on the Everything Stage Lighting Facebook group page? How now we don't want to say like cheap Chinese knockoffs, like stop referring to them as Chinese. Did you guys see that?
Oh my God. If I would have seen it, trust me, it would have blown up by now. Because I would have had a response to that.
But they're from China and they're knockoffs. We're not being racially insensitive here. I mean, it's like
Or just using adjectives, right? Like,
yeah. You have to say
stupid.
cheap knockoffs from places other than America or something. I don't know.
Isn't it true
That's
that
very politically
where
correct.
China goes to as their cheaper labor now? When China farms it out, it's built in India now?
I don't know.
How about something like pricing has been value Weird.
Listen, joking aside, when like pre-COVID, the Chinese factory owners that we talked to were certainly starting to look over, like I think of the globe, over to their left, because, you know, as the workers at the Chinese factory have become more middle class, yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly freaking it. The
Yeah.
labor's getting more expensive, and
True.
the factory owners are trying to. I always get, it's the country that changed names, and I always get it wrong, and I'm going to embarrass myself and look like
No, but it's
like an asshole,
Malaysia,
so
Malaysia, Indonesia, Vietnam.
what is Burma? Is Burma the old name or the new name? What's somebody here
Myanmar? Are you thinking
somebody
of
here
Myanmar?
smarter than me, probably. But that's where they were starting to look at opening factories.
Interesting.
You know,
the
it's
other
crazy.
thing-
We outsource.
Go on.
It's
Matt.
just the outsourcing in the United States going to China, and now China's outsourcing. It's crazy.
No, but that goes and goes and goes. So I mean, in the guitar business, I remember when American guitars were the only thing, and then you started seeing like Japanese Fender Strats, and it was like, ooh, taboo, Japanese guitars, ooh. And then Ibanez got big, ESP got big, and suddenly Japanese guitars were pretty good. And then they started getting too expensive. So then it started going to like first Korea, and then, you know, whatever down the line. So, you know, that's going to keep happening. As soon as labor prices start coming up, they'll go somewhere else. You know, it's like a lot of companies used to manufacture products in Czech Republic, other than Roby. Like there were a lot of manufacturing firms in Czech Republic, and they're moving out of there because as soon as Czech joined the EU, it became much more expensive. So, I mean, that's going to keep happening. But one of the weird things that I've seen happen, and Ben, I don't remember if it was you or Loader or somebody was telling me that pre-COVID a container was like 12,000 or something, and now it's like 22 or whatever.
Yeah, try 40.
What?
Yeah, we're paying 38,000 for full size.
Yeah,
right now.
$38,000 to ship a container.
Yeah, when it used to be as low as 8,000.
I remember when it was 8. I remember when it was like 6. You know. That's how
So why did it get jacked up so much? Like, what is
Because they
the reason?
Because they can't. Well, I mean, there's Google it, because there's 600,000 reasons, and you know, other people have written.
Amazon is
but,
one of them. Amazon's
yeah,
one of them.
Amazon, fuel costs, capacity, you know, COVID, you know, I'm sure you've all read about the ships parked off of Los Angeles and Long Beach and San Francisco, you know, just, and really, I think the answer is because they can, supply and demand, you know.
It is exactly like U-Haul is doing here in California. For me to move to Texas would be $5,000 for the same truck that would cost $1,000 from Texas to California.
Yeah.
Because they can.
So you fly to Texas and bring the truck back, right?
Exactly. I would save money. I would save money that way.
So you're moving to Texas?
No, I'm not moving to Texas, but it was a big thing here in California on the news, actually.
So, Waylon, are
Is
you joining the Village people, or what's the deal here?
I'm working, baby.
What are you doing?
Wow. Looks like
MTV Movie Awards.
Wow.
Cool.
Yeah, so I'm here until the 20th.
Very cool.
Yeah, so we do the MTV Movie Awards on Saturday. We have a reset overnight, and then we do the MTV Unscripted Awards Sunday.
That's in LA?
Yeah, in next weekend. So we have a week of build, 2 days of rehearsal, and then we shoot. And so one's live, and then one's live to tape.
Very cool.
So, and it's pretty crazy. For catering, we have to sit at the ends of an 8-foot table, and they've got, 200 chairs, and there's about 300 people on site right now. So busy.
Waylon, what are you providing?
Production management.
What's the venue?
The Hollywood Palladium.
Ah, cool.
Oh yeah. That place is great.
Yeah, so I'll give you another little view here. So we have, we're at 66 motors, and we're building a mother grid right now. So It's got fully automated video walls that open and close. The stage is 80 wide, and then there's thrusts and all kinds of crazy wings and stuff. So it's really cool.
But does it still smell the same?
It smells exactly like you think it does.
Yeah, back in the 80s. Yep.
Yep.
Is there going to be any
How
live
high
audience,
is the-
Patrick?
What's that?
Any live audience whatsoever?
Yes, we have 150 up in the balcony, and then they've got paid audience on the ground, which is I think 75, and then we have 100 guests.
Okay.
So, and I think that's for both days.
Is that just mainly for camera shots or?
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
What's
and
the
all
max? Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just asking. I completely forget the trim there, but I remember it's really, really low. What's the max trim there?
I think it's like 24.
Yeah,
it's
it's
over
tight.
the deck, and it's probably from here up. Yeah, it's about 24, 25, maybe.
Yeah, because they have
26.
that ring around there that makes it.
Yes, that hoses
it keeps
everything.
it low. Yeah.
Yep. Which is why we're building 2 different mother grids. So, because the house grade is actually lower than the stage grade by about 4 feet. So
Yeah, it was always awesome doing a show there, but it is always shitty to try to get your show in there.
like the Red Rocks.
Yeah. I saw it on.
It's not that bad.
On Axis a couple days ago. I saw Bad Company at the Red Rocks. What a cool show that was.
Yeah. But Marcel, I took a call. Did I miss something? Were you selling your coffee MA wings? A call came in. I had to take it. I got pulled out.
I sold them. I sold them all in the UK. Sold them all in the
should
UK.
we leave the call or what?
Oh yeah, no, I'm here and I'm waiting for them to take it down and
I have to pay
Absolutely.
get it off the website.
Marcel, it's bad for your reputation, man. It's terrible, man. The longer that stays up there, the more it's like selling something that's stolen. I mean, you wouldn't do that.
It's not mine, so
I gotta
we have
run,
to go
guys.
through
I'll
a
talk to
legal
you.
process to remove it. See if Patrick.
No, but you want to stay away from stuff. It's just
Later,
your
Patrick.
reputation is
Yeah,
in jeopardy.
I agree.
How dare you?
You don't want to see
Stolen my childhood.
Tiger touches.
What's that?
You don't want to see the knockoff Tiger touches he's selling.
Yeah.
What's that? Yeah, look, Matt. I mean, it goes on. We all know it goes on. I mean, they produce 10 times more than we do. I should be very proud. But at the same time, whatever. I'm the one borrowing another, a further second £1 million to keep paying those software engineers. During all of this. So I suppose I might just more and more just focus on, it is just theft outright. That's what it is. If they wrote their own software, it'd be great. That'd be competition. And that's what the world's about, it's called fair competition, isn't it? All of us.
Yeah.
But I just think it's bad for you as well, my friend, because
but the
95% of what you sell is original. You don't go
right.
fuck all that
But
up
Steve,
by selling
hang on a
software.
sec. Hey, Steve. So just to be clear, we don't sell it. It's a platform. So somebody puts it there for sale. So we then have to go do research and figure it out and then legally punt them off the platform, right? So today we discovered that the listing is in Austria. And I don't know much more than that because I haven't even talked to my staff because I was up in Orlando today. But I'm positive it'll be gone. I just don't know if it'll be gone tomorrow or tonight or Friday or what. It'll be gone for sure.
And Marcel, I think it's a really tricky issue because you're not there to be the police. It's really difficult to be the police. It's almost like, to me, it's like the difference between eBay and whatever that Chinese site that I don't even know.
Yeah.
The Chinese site.
Alibaba,
Alibaba, when it's floated on the stock market, I thought that was one of the most disgusting things.
Yeah. No, and the thing is,
post-millennial.
So, without getting too far into our policies or anything, when it is flat out illegal, in other words, somebody sends us a list of stolen equipment, we realize that this stuff is off of the list, we'll help the police to arrest the guy, which we've done. And one in particular that I remember was Kevin Boone from 3B Productions had a truck stolen, and it ended up being an inside job. It was one of his own guys who stole the truck and had a partner and took it to the partner, and then they were selling this stuff through GearSource. and we caught them, and we helped the police set up a sting on it. Basically, the police posed as a buyer, and they arrested the guy. And so, you know, we certainly want to catch the bad guys, but we have to do it in a way that, you know, is so yeah, the listing will be gone for sure. Because
well, if you need any, if your European folks need any support, you know, the MA Factory is more than happy to supply all documentation needed to protect their intellectual property.
I don't even think we need that, because the thing is, it says copy right on the listing. Right. It says copy. So, you know, in a sense, maybe that's a training opportunity. Yeah. Maybe that's a training opportunity where we talk to, you know, our own listings approval people and say, hey, when a listing comes through and says copy on it, there's a very good chance that it's a copy, and we should probably, you know, not approve the listing. So,
Marcel,
anyway.
Do you check serial numbers?
No. So that's something that we've always wanted to build out, is sort of a global serial number database, where, like, for example, a rental company who lost an MA2 console, got stolen or whatever, they could put that in. And then every time somebody lists an MA2 console, they have to put in the serial number, and we're looking for a match. So, for example, Rolex does that. I happen to know because I had a watch stolen one time. And Rolex, through all the authorized Rolex service centers, they have a global serial number database. And so they're always watching for stolen ones, and they never found mine, of course. But so, yeah, I mean, it's a dodgy business. When you're dealing with used gear, you're always looking for scammers on the buyer side and scammers on the seller side, and protecting, you know, everyone from both of them. So it's always a sketchy business. We've been doing it 20 years and have kind of figured it out.
That's why the margins are so big.
This completely disregard what you just heard.
I was going to say,
nonsense.
Don't think that I don't realize how difficult it is, because we come across people always trying to pass off, you know, getting support as if they own the original, and so it's very hard. You know, sometimes it's really hard to spot. And as you say, the ones that are stolen, because they have to keep coming back and getting, sometimes they have to give the whatever the serial number and registration to get the next software upgrade. So they do get flushed out, don't they?
That's crazy. Does anybody remember the Chinese the Chinese track spots when it said manufactured in Austin, Texas, China on the label inside the track spot?
No.
I remember that one. Bellevue lost his mind over that.
Plastic.
Does anybody on this call, actually, Marcel, you might know this. Like, I remember, and I never knew if it was more of a rumor or an urban legend, that like in the early 2000s, there were a fuck ton of Mac 2K performance fixtures with like the same that had been copied down to the serial number floating around the US. Is that actually true, or was that just a rumor?
Ben Saltzman, that's the ones from Fine Art, aren't they?
Exactly.
Have you ever been to the Fine Art Factory, man? It's a fucking shocker. It absolutely, you know, respect to them, but you know, and I wish these guys, you say, hey, just get your own R&D people as well, and then we'll go head to head. You know, that's not a problem. But you can't just be stealing stealing code, you know, after another. But the operation was amazing. You know, the quality of these copies, stunning.
Yeah.
So I guess I do have a question. How do they get your software? Do they just hack it off your desks? Is that how they get it? Or
well, in the past, I would say that our protection was very low. We've got a couple of things. The personality, we're the sort of, I guess the first to start a dedicated personality system whenever it was, you know, like 93 or something like that. We started with personality files. And so, but that library wasn't protected. You know, like now when you go to anything, you know, download iTunes and you have to, I agree, Google, whatever, I agree. We still didn't have it. We didn't have an I agree for the first 20 years. And by the time it's been out in general public domain for 20 years, there's no point in having an I agree. So we're sort of fucked on that. So they take that side of it very easily. But the software, they crack it. And now, believe it or not, this is God's honest truth. They pay a bounty to crack it. You know, so it might be worth 100,000 US to crack it. The next version, when we release version 11, they get, you know, they make it clear within a community that there's money available for cracking that version. And once they crack it, they then sell it to each other. So you crack it, and then the owner of the crack then can then supply all of the different manufacturers, of which there are probably, maybe 20. And I'm sure MA is exactly the same. These 20 manufacturers are all waiting for the next version to be cracked, and they're going to pay for it. And they sell that license. It's a good business.
Yeah, there's 60 people writing software at the MA factory, and literally a third of them are doing copy protection.
Yeah, we're doing the same thing. It's really distracting because it slows down for all of the users, for your users, my users. It slows down what they're getting because we're spending so much resource just stopping people stealing the fucking thing. But hey, I don't know. I suppose you always got to protect your home ground. But it's tricky, isn't it? It gets more and more complex. Because when people can crack things like Windows, then they're obviously very good. So you can
now,
crack most
couldn't you just run an ad in China, in Chinese, that says both MA and Avalite feel so bad for all the units that have come out that have not had their support. Please send your consoles in and we'll take care of them. And then when they do, take care of them.
The Chinese don't see it as stealing, though. I mean, it's a culture. It's a cultural difference between the East and the West. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like they wouldn't even understand the words agree with the words we're using in this conversation.
Yeah, it's more of a goal, more of a we're gonna get you. We can figure it out kind of thing. Not we're gonna get you. We're gonna figure it out and we're gonna make money on it.
I remember in the really early days of Martin when Peter Johansson went on a mission to fight this battle, right? When they were copying, I forget which product it was. And he went and filed lawsuits and went to the government in China and stuff. And basically the government supported that activity. They said, hey, we're not doing anything wrong over here. So look away.
Yeah, it produces a lot of jobs.
Are there that many counterfeit consoles floating around?
Well, it's not just consoles. Obviously, it's counterfeit. It's music, it's shoes, it's clothing, it's electronics.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm just relating to our conversation with Steve and Ben. Like, are there that many of your desks that are counterfeit floating around?
Matt, we used to. I mean, we talk about it a lot, and it's really hard to get metrics, and we use all metrics we can, which is our Chinese customers, Chinese distributor, other surrounding regions. LDs visiting and coming back. We visit exhibitions and see how much original product there is sold and how much copy product is being used for those exhibitions. And so you put all of that together, and it really breaks my heart because I will tell you, I don't know, between a sort of 5 to 10 year period, I was saying, they're copying maybe 4 or 5 times as much as we're making. We now think it's 10 or 12 times what comes out of our factory.
Wow.
10 or 12 times.
It's true. It's true.
So they do respect, and they know that they've got that feeling about everything is owned by the whole community because that's the core of communism. But they sort of also know that they've wised up to this is a racket, just like selling porn or selling crack or whatever. It's got its methodology. And
3 years ago, we did a big video game thing in China. They had the whole nest, the whole thing filled with fans, and we specified a whole bunch of lights. They were identical to the Martin fixture that we could not read in Mandarin when we showed up.
I was probably Fine Light. Yeah. I remember. I don't remember if it was Hong Kong or maybe Seoul, but the first time I went there, I remember going shopping and looking for a pair of Nike shoes, and you could buy at a market, you could buy Nikes on this table for $90, for example, and fake Nikes on the table next to it for $12, right? And they were identical. They were completely identical. And it happens everywhere. Prada wallets in Italy. These what are they? Albanians or is it Algerian? Albanian. Anyways, they set up these blankets like in Desenzano and stuff. They roll out these blankets, and they got all this Prada stuff. And I remember I was there with my wife and Kiara from Coamar. You remember Kiara, right, Steve? Kiara? You don't know Kiara, Steve?
No, sorry. No, I can't hit in here.
Well, anyways, Kiara from Coamar said, because my wife was like, I want one of these Prada wallets. And she goes, but it's a fake. And she goes, look, Barbara. And she holds up a real Prada wallet. They're identical. You couldn't find a difference anywhere.
Amazing.
And she bought it for like, you know, the equivalent of like $15 or something, right?
We have that in New York City. It's the same thing. New York City, there are guys with bags right on the corner.
Yeah.
And,
That's a big problem.
and it depends. I think some of the copy product, it's hard to knock, but I also know that I bought like copy Mont Blancs back in the early days. I wasn't so bothered, and I thought, you know what, if it gives some jobs in China, you know, maybe Mr. Chong's daughter, he deserves a job, she deserves a job just as much as my daughter, you know. So I didn't really have too much of a thing with it, and I used to still buy copy stuff out the market, but it does fail pretty quickly. All the lighters, I think, that I've thrown away. The torches you've thrown away, the fucking Mont Blanc pens that last like 2 weeks.
But how can you forbid it on one side, your consoles, but support it on the other side by buying fake?
Well, this is what I'm saying. Is
Come on, Steve.
What he's saying is he's learned over time.
Exactly right. And this is why I then went through a policy of just like after 5 years, you're like, no, this is wrong. Actually, so I'm wrong on both sides. It's not funny. The stuff is crap. Because you come back with all sorts of stuff for the girls in the office, you know, prime all Prada handbags be great. But you know, after a few years, you think this is shit. This is fucking stealing from them, just like they're stealing from us. Now, I think stealing code is different to stealing hardware. I'm more sympathetic about stealing hardware, which is why maybe I feel less bad about the bags in the past. But the stealing code is just like whatever, like an author of a book, just writing something. It's their property and it gets stolen immediately.
I've got two questions, Steve. So when they make this thing that's bootleg, do they take your manual, including all the copyright information that's in it, and copy that as?
Absolutely. Bob, the bit that really tickles me, not only they copy all of the technical support material, because it's all there online. That part is not so difficult. What really sort of tickles me is all of the marketing material for years and years and years, every piece of copy, every sentence. You know, I've sat at home and mulled over and played with the words and you know, swapped it about till you have all of your different marketing assets, you know, descriptions of every feature. And then to see that on all these Chinese websites for like 20 years later, I'm still fucking stuff.
That's crazy. Back just out of college, we used to do it to Adobe software all the time. All the software we wanted. And now, you know, I could never imagine trying to do it now. But back when we were young, it was free, basically free back then. Until your computer shut down, and then
there's a whole other level of difficulty for the manufacturers that come into play that we ran into several years ago. We've seen copy Grand MA consoles all around the world. They're obviously very prevalent throughout Asia, in China and Taiwan, and you know, in a lot of lesser valuated countries, particularly in South America. And we're getting a lot of, with the sheer number of projects we were doing at the time for one of the clients, we were getting direct support from MA in each of these regions where they were flying someone out to make sure that all of these systems were perfect. And in one of the instances, I get a phone call at another continent, and they said, listen, we have a real problem here because we're paying to have a guy there. The entire system is counterfeit. We can't, in good conscience, stay. We've already paid thousands of dollars to send this representative there. You know, and we have specifications that specifically state that you can't use counterfeit control equipment in any of these regions. And so in the end, we had to, you know, force the vendor to go out and get a whole new system. But it's caused issues in the past, not just in the fact that it has been copied, but then you've got a manufacturer throwing good money after bad at that point, trying to support it. And then we had another instance where everything looked like it was on the up and up, and in fact it was, but there were still ghosts in the machine. We couldn't figure out what was causing all sorts of issues. And ultimately we found that there was a copied network processor unit that was buried under the stage somewhere, and it was a Chinese knockoff. But when you hook that up into the network of the real system, all of this bullshit started happening. And you know, it just takes one piece of equipment like that knocked off to really screw up everything. It's difficult, but it's a tough situation.
And Patrick, in that situation, when the shit hits the fan, which you know sometimes does it, and it's full on, it's MA you're calling or Avolites that you're calling. isn't it? That's the issue. And then so there's so many times where you still end up helping the customer because of who the customer is. But then, as you say, if you then find whatever, I've got a guy who's working in TV quite high up here, and he started using Copy MA product, and he's part of our circle, part of our social circle. And we just, everyone came down on him like a ton of bricks, because you don't go jeopardizing your reputation. You're a fucking idiot, man. You're like,
well, you can't.
It's like being caught with heroin or something. It's fucking unacceptable.
Yeah, there's certainly this sort of unwritten professional social moniker of not using things that are counterfeit just simply based on being loyal. But there's also the option of, you take that away and it's like, well, it's gear is gear. I'm going to use that. Yeah. But the flip side of that is, well, that gear is not nearly as robust. So the next level of reputation that you're jeopardizing is your ability to actually deliver on what you've promised. And you're putting that at a big risk.
Yeah, you may spike your client's show inadvertently.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, on another topic, Dearson or Ben or anyone, did anyone send a letter to this Barbara Carson person that Strickland was begging us to send letters to?
No, I think I missed this.
The SBA admin person?
Yeah, the SBA lady, yeah.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago or whenever it was that was first going around.
Did you get a response yet?
I don't think so, no.
So you probably will, but I'm warning you, it's a form letter. So it was funny because I was with Cosmo today. We got the exact same one back. Cosmo and I both got this letter back today, and we read them side by side on his phone and on my phone, and they're identical. And it's basically, this, unless you have a box office and you're an actual venue, get lost, And I mean, it's sad and pathetic that there are people who are, almost billionaires who own these venues who are going to get tens of millions of dollars. It's got nothing to do with need. That's my biggest problem with this stupid SVOG grant. It's got nothing to do with need. Our industry has so much need, and all this money is going to people who probably double or tripled their value on real estate in the past 18 months, while there are people who earn nothing,
Marcel, do you do me a favor and you tell me that form letter that you received?
Yeah, I'll forward it to you right now. Actually, if you guys want, I can just put it in the chat because there's nothing private about it. That's for sure.
Michael said that thousands of people got the same thing.
Yeah.
Could be a Chinese knockoff.
Maybe I got it to my joke.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's funny.
It's not really that funny. I don't find it funny.
There's very little.
Bob's comment was funny.
The entirety of the SVOG rollout has been really difficult. I mean, they every time you go look at the thing, there's massive errors in it, and one page doesn't match up to the other, and they just don't do shit.
They're a joke. They're a joke.
Listen, this is why they had. Sorry,
I see it. Thank you.
This is why they had to let the banks do the fucking PPP program, because the federal government's not set up to do shit like this.
Yeah.
They were always going to get this wrong.
Yeah.
But I don't understand how is this any different than PPP? It's all going through the SBA at the end of the day, isn't it?
No, with the PPP program, all of us applied to our banks. The banks did all the work to verify that it was cool. Then the bank made the loan, and all the government had to do was backstop the banks. And the process for doing that took a lot of the work out of the government's hands. With this SVOG thing, as I understand it, and I don't own the venue, so I haven't paid a tremendous amount of attention to it. You're applying directly to the SBA for a grant. So they have to process and deal with your application as opposed to the bank. So I don't know, like a fucking year ago when we were talking about PPP, there was some statistic where and I'm going to make it up, but this was the scale of it. The SBA in a normal year does 50,000 loans. And in 3 months of 2020, they did 500 million loans. I know that's an exaggeration.
Yeah, but you're right.
And they had to use the banks as a buffer to actually get that work done.
Now, if I was writing
we'll tell you
if I was writing a John Grisham movie here, then we talked about Chinese knockoffs. Then if I was a foreign country that wanted to really cause havoc, I would just be putting out an email that say your PPP has been approved. Please send me your account number. We'll deposit that money today. You'll have to report to us. And in some 30 or 60 days, I'd say, you know, you owe me $200,000, but we can clear your debt if you'll just do it.
So, Bob, you know, the worst one, and you guys have all been attacked by email scams and stuff. So the worst one that happens is if you own a business, these people go in and somehow get your email addresses and stuff. So they'll send an email from me to my controller in my office, right? And it'll say, hey, why haven't you sent out that damn wire yet? Send it now, hurry up. Here's the information, get it out now, $45,000, hurry, you know? And so I'm literally sitting in the doctor's office and I'm getting surgery on my elbow. Like I'm getting, well, not surgery, but PRP. So they've got needles in my elbow, right? And my phone is just lighting up, right? And so finally I go, Doc, hang on a sec. So I answer it with my other arm and I say, what? I'm in the doctor getting needles in my arm. And he goes, well, you don't have to be such a dick. I'm just trying to send this wire out that you're yelling at me about. And I go, what wire? And he goes, the 45 grand. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he goes, I'm just about to hit send. I just want to confirm, you know, and I'm like, no, dude, don't hit send. Don't hit nothing. I'll call you back when I get off this table, but don't do anything. And that's happened to me 5 or 6 times.
We have rules in place with like code words and shit, because I actually know people who have fallen for it and sent out $200,000.
I have an employee who fell for it and sent out like $2,000 because I sent to my employee an email saying, can you please hurry and wire me this $2,000? I need it right now. And a girl who works for me sent the $2,000. I paid her back, so I lost the $2,000, but she actually sent the $2,000 to the guy. And, you know, we contacted the bank and tried to stop it and all kinds of things, but it was too late. So, too bad.
I mean, going back to the SBA, they have not been, I mean, even dealing with EIDL and the grant portion of that, they have been cheap bastards. Like, it is not easy dealing with the SBA. And you would think that they would work with small businesses, being the Small Business Administration. I don't get it. It's really frustrating. That's all. So
you're right.
Fuck off.
Hey, so on a better note, so I was up at Chaz's shop at Zenith today and was speaking with his guy Ben Coker. If you guys don't know Ben, the guy's awesome. But he works for Porter Robinson, and they're doing a festival in Berkeley, I think. Their first one is in Berkeley. And they just sold out 44,000 tickets in less than an hour. And the minimum ticket price was $130. So, you know, it's funny because there's constantly this myth going around that even if we announce shows and even if there are shows, nobody's going to spend the money. I don't know. I mean, if you guys still believe that one or not, but I've said all along that people are going to be dying for entertainment.
I think people are definitely going to spend money.
Hey, one of the things I just shared, and, you know, somebody has a lot of sound coming back. It might be Ellen. I don't know where it's coming from, but
not me.
It's usually Ellen and David Barber, those damn fucking magazine people.
I've got nothing on.
Anyway,
yeah, you do. Your mic's on.
So I just shared in the chat the North Koreans have figured out how to put hacking information into a BMP file. And that's something that I would not normally think of as being a problem. It's like a JPEG to me, as not being a deal, but it is. So please, before you open up the BMP file, make sure that who you think is sending it to you is real, because that's nutty that they figured out a way to send in a bitmap file, something that goes over to your computer. You just have to, you sign like authorization like you have for many other accesses, and suddenly you're hacked.
It's crazy. It's PDFs, it's Word docs, it's, You know, I remember when it used to only be EXE files, right? And I have a Mac, so it doesn't matter because I can't even accidentally open an EXE file. But now it's all kinds of things that they can scam you with.
It's gotten
Correct.
completely out of hand.
It's ridiculous.
Completely out of hand.
Bastards.
All right.
Arr.
I'm out of here. Everybody have a nice night.
Aloha, Ben.
I'm going to go
See you,
sit at
man.
Yankee Stadium and yell
care.
at the Astros about
There you go. That's a good
Go
idea.
Yankees.
what cheating
Cheater.
scumbags they are. So
Have a good time,
Go
Ben.
have a nice
fun.
Yankees. Have
see ya.
fun.
Enjoy.
Speaking of baseball, what you were saying, Marcel, I will tell you, I think it's going to follow sporting events. And sporting events, because of the limited capacity, people are paying out their ass, and they're going, right? And they're not having a problem getting the ticket prices. And
But do you think it's because of limited capacity, or it's just because people are dying to get back to normal?
I think one feeds the other, right? And I think
Yeah.
we'll see the same thing. I think at first people will be willing to spend a ton of experiential money on concerts, festivals. And then I think we'll see maybe that taper off after they've hit their second and third one, right? Maybe it won't. Maybe it'll create a new norm. But I don't think, I think people will have the money. I don't think we have an issue with butts and seats.
Yeah.
Moving forward.
Greg, are you up in San Francisco or the San Francisco area?
No, we're in Los Angeles.
Okay. I don't know if you heard, but the Giants are doing full sections of their stadium, and actually Cuomo's starting to do that now with Yankees, Mets, that they're doing full sections that if you have a vaccine, it would be sold as normal full capacity for that section. The Giants are doing the same thing. And then they're going to have sections that are like socially distanced, like as is now for unvaccinated.
You know what? Like whether you're a pro-vax, whether you're a pro-vax or an anti-vax or a whatever, I think that's a fantastic idea. You know what I mean? Like, because one of the problems with the vaccine is I think, no politics here whatsoever. And I hate that we're even going into this topic and that I'm leading it. But one of the problems is there's not a lot of incentive for people to get the vaccine when you still have to wear a mask, you still have to get tested, you still have to quarantine, you still have to socially distance. Why am I getting the vaccine, right? So, I think that that's a really brilliant way of doing it, is to say, hey, look, do what you want, but if you've got the vaccine, you can sit over here and you can lick frickin' railings and seat backs or whatever. Sit over here, you got to socially distance and wear a mask,
Yeah. The Dodgers are actually giving discounts for those seats now if you're vaccinated.
There's one stadium that's going to have a vaccination center there. If you actually vaccinate the thing, you get a ticket to that evening's game, right? So you can go get vaccinated in the game. Let's just hope you have side effects. But Marcel, it's interesting subject about incentive. I heard I just don't remember what state, the governor was on the tube earlier, and she is going to open up her state, and meaning, outdoor, no masks, based on them hitting a vaccination rate, because they're one of the low states. So that is an incentive for the population. Hey, if you want to get out and get your sense of normalcy back, then together we've got to get to this vaccination rate. I think she was only asking for 60% because she's probably in the 40s right now. And that was interesting to me, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's going to work.
No, I think anything they do, we think America is bad. So my girlfriend was telling me this morning, her son is married to a Peruvian, and she's in Peru right now because they're dealing with immigration stuff. And she went to the grocery store this morning, and she was wearing a face shield and a mask, and they stopped her and wouldn't let her in. They refused her to go into the grocery store, and she said, why? And they said, because you need the face shield and 2 masks. I mean, this is just insane.
I mean,
and she's
really
vaccinated.
bad,
She's vaccinated. She's vaccinated.
Listen,
So-
we did a show at SoFi outside. I'm fully vaccinated. My entire crew is fully vaccinated. We're outside, and we both had the double mask. The whole entire crew, double mask. And test every morning. So I was a little upset at that as well. It's unfortunate.
Crazy.
In
New York, they're actually letting you get vaccinated if you go to a game. So if you go to a Yankees or a Mets game, you can actually get vaccinated that night of the game, and they'll also give you a coupon for a ticket for following games. So basically, you get a jab, you get a free ticket to a baseball game, and you can get vaccinated going to a baseball.
Those are good ideas. I like those ideas.
Yeah,
I think they're smart ideas.
it's great.
Incentive, because
Okay,
I mean, when people see public figures, politicians, the president vaccinated and wearing a mask, I think you're sending a message that says, the vaccines don't really work because you have to still wear a mask or whatever, and to the average person, to the average person, I'm saying it sends a message. To me, it sends a message that why do we need to do both? So I just think that it's good incentive when you say, hey, vaccines really work. And by the way, I'm going to give you a ticket to a baseball game and let you sit in this special section, because you're getting vaccinated. That's
Forgive me
incentive.
if I'm wrong, but isn't part of or most of the point of wearing a mask to not spread any spittle to others? So out of a common decency, even if you're vaccinated, I think that the policy doesn't ask first if you're vaccinated when the sign's in front of the store that says no mask, no entry.
Hey,
With all due
Marcel.
respect, that's not what I mean, but yes, Rob.
I went to a fixture demo today, and tomorrow I'm going to see an Avolites D9 console. So, shit like that's starting to happen.
Yeah, we can talk about the Evo console now that Ben ducked out early.
So Rob,
also, sorry for stirring up a fucking shitstorm.
Rob, I got a question. Did you wash the mug before you used it?
I did, yeah. We washed the Hungarian off of it.
Good. Brad and the guys are doing well, man. Thank you for coming out. On that note,
you got a fucking, killer product on your hand. You really do.
Thank you. I have to run on that note, guys, and I'm going to put in the chat. We are going to be in Los Angeles, the roadshow next week, in New York. So for you East and West Coasters, hit me up and I'll get you guys an invite, and love to see your faces. And Marcel, thank you again for being there in Cosmo. Appreciate it. Take care, everybody.
Greg.
Greg, take care.
Later, Greg.
Hey, buddy.
I'm bummed I'm missing the New York Roadshow.
Now that Greg's gone, so the one negative thing that happened today at the demo was that they pulled out a piece of GP truss, and there's a bit of an issue with the fixture being a bit too tall for the truss, and so when you tilt it bumps into the bottom of the truss, and their reps were kind of like, oh shit, and they were on phones and texting like crazy, and so I don't know that they knew this to be a problem, and it is what it is. I mean, fixtures are getting bigger. They're going to get.
They do know about this.
Oh, they do.
They are already. I mean, and not as of today, as of a month ago, they were already creating calibrated software setting that can be
limits.
At the fixture or the desk that you can engage that would automatically set to GT truss, which is really interesting.
Yeah, which Greg actually, because I repeated it back to Greg after the demo today, and he told me the same thing. He said, yeah, we've actually already put in limits into the software. You just set it saying that it's going into GT truss. And the bottom line is this: you want brighter fixtures with lots and lots of features. They're going to get a little bigger, and it's not just Martin. It's going to be Robe. It's going to be all the companies. They're not the only fixture that's a little bit too big for GT truss right now. So, but that was the one downside. I mean, everything else was super positive. Rob, I'd rather hear from you because you're a designer, but.
Well, Pearson, I mean, it's a killer light. And yeah, I mean, even if you have a fixture that can tilt all the way up, you're going to be blocked by the rail of the truss anyway, right? So it's really not a big deal. But I'm more interested in why they seem to like these like bezels that are like vacuum formed to the internals versus just making it like a more of a shape. I mean, it's a design choice, but it just seems, I don't know, seems weird to me.
I mean, if Bellevue was on the phone, Bellevue would say, I would want to see a light and know that it is a Martin light or a high-end systems light. It's a look to the product, like,
I mean, I think it's such a small thing in the big picture that you're never going to notice it. It's only when you're walking by, but it just looks, it looks smooshed.
I think I love the look of it.
Yeah,
I love the shit about like the entertaining guy at front of house stuff. That's the difference. The guy in the 30th row doesn't notice. It doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
I'm not agreeing with it. I'm saying like they see the light and know that it's a Martin product or a high-end product or a
No,
Verilight
Bellevue
product.
always loved that.
That's
You're right.
that's all. I'm saying that's
Yeah. It's
I
getting
don't
harder
get why
today
they
when
do
they're
it,
all
but,
made by Golden Sea, but
Mhm.
that one's
But
not.
yeah,
It's
as far
made in
as
Hungary.
the fixture, I mean, it's bright, it's good. I mean, who's on here that I can't? I mean,
No,
it's not
no Roby guys.
like, right? Yeah, I mean, it's not like, oh my God, so much better than everything else. You know, it would still come down to like quantity that I can get for the budget for the project that we're putting together. The problem is, I don't know if it's because it's all, you know, the manufacturing's all homogenized down into a few actual providers, but everything's getting so good. And, you know, we were talking about this, it's like the step from fixture classes isn't, you know, like the features aren't that much of an improvement. You know, you went from like a Studio Spot 575 to a Mac 2K. That was a huge thing, or like a TF7 to a Mac 2K. That was like, oh my God, you know, revolutionary. Now it's just kind of like, yeah, this, that, this.
Well,
yeah,
but at the same time, you know, so the benchmark right now, I guess, is a BMFL as far as the big arena light or whatever, right? And so at the demo that we saw today, they had a BMFL next to the Martin fixture, and in the same color temperature, same size, no tricks, no old lamp, nothing. It was literally double at 35 feet. So,
I don't think a BMFL, when you start putting stuff in it, like I did a
this was just open white.
A trade. Yeah, I mean, I did a trade show thing where they wanted to recreate the Aurora Borealis. And I was like, well, I got 6 BMFL to do that. Let's try it. And did a gobo, did color, did the animation wheel, and it was dim as shit. Like,
yeah.
I know it's a lot of stuff in front of it, but if you're trying to create, I've never thought the BMFL was like super bright unless it was like no gobo and like not super saturated color. But that's just me. I don't know.
Well, in all fairness, there's the Roby has that. What's that like? The Forte or what is it called?
Forte. Those are great. Yeah, the Forte. Yeah. They're great.
I think that's more representative. The BMFL, I agree, didn't match up at all with the
UMAC. It was frightening.
But the Forte I've seen, and it's bright. It's same as the LED engine as well.
No, the Forte's
the Esprit too. I like the Esprit. It's a great product as well.
I mean,
I'll tell you what,
like
Cosmo,
Rob just said, they're all amazing.
But that wash light that they got, man, that thing makes some fat beams, and I think it'll stick out in front of LED and, you know, everything else. So it's pretty cool.
Rob, to your point, you know, when we did that thing in November,
yeah,
I was always very much against using a Chinese label manufacturer unit. And those Acmes that we were using on it, I was absolutely blown away by those. The quality of the light coming out of those and the way it maintained, particularly for camera, was astounding.
Yeah, they're pretty good. I mean, there's a reason that, you know, HUD bought a billion of them or whatever.
Yeah, they're phenomenal.
Yeah, so and that's the thing, they're a third of the cost.
The incremental changes are very minimal at this point, where you're competing against, you know, the same level of, particularly when all of the lamp sources are coming out. Marcel, as you said, everything coming out of Golden Sea, it's just coming off of a different floor of that building. You know,
I'm just glad Schiller wasn't standing there today with 3 different versions of the same thing with different feature sets and a cold and a warm lamp source. I was like, I'm glad we're past that part.
Yeah,
that's a huge one. Very smart.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Gibson with the burn.
It's true though.
Yeah, it is. And a vendor can't keep up with it.
Well, because the thing is, like, all the top tier shows get to spec whatever they want, right? But like, we go to festivals and Gumper will be like, all right, Dearson, I got 100 of these and I got 100 cold and 100 whites. And it's like, I put that onus on the manufacturer not to do that to us.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, you could always make a cool warm, like there is a CTO for a reason. So.
Well, it's everybody, I should say, all the manufacturers chasing specific genres. So, you know, you're going after these
theater. It's for theater.
Stuff. then, different color mixing systems to appease, theater versus television and so on and so forth. It just goes on forever.
Yeah.
At the end of the
I
day,
agree with you.
we've got enough pieces of glass to stick in front of the fucking things that we can mix whatever we want.
Yeah.
On another topic, Dearson, I think that we should all confirm that you are responsible for choosing the LDI bar this year, and we should start promoting it. What's it going to be? I mean, we have to come up with something.
Yeah, no, it's kind of a hard one.
God knows people are going to want to get together,
I second that.
Yeah.
Good idea, Marcel.
Of course you do.
Figure it out.
Are we recommending?
It might be Caesars.
You think?
To be honest. Yeah, they've put in some interesting new bars. They've revamped a bunch of stuff in there. In terms of capacity, I think Caesars might be the best way to go.
Well, I think you and Gumper are going to have to go out for a hard night of drinking and write it all off, of course, because this is very legitimate business.
I understand what you're saying, Marcel. I think it's going to take us several weeks to reconnoiter this, but we're going to put in the due diligent effort. We'll devote each night to really refining what the occupancy rates are and the quality level of what they're serving and make sure, because I mean, people really like a range these days.
Well, you only have a short 20 weeks, right? So you better start now and report back to us each week with your findings and spreadsheets and stuff.
We want Patrick Wilson's yell.
Cosmo, I'll be right back.
Patrick, just do Ellis Island, baby. Ellis Island.
God.
Hey, Patrick.
Anywhere near that place.
Cheap.
Patrick Harmon here.
Yeah.
So in the chat, you weren't on the call when we talked, when I showed these guys this really, really cool. Well, please look at the 3 pictures.
Well, you know what's funny though, Bob? After the conversation we just had, so when I clicked on your first image, it says potential security issue detected. Bob Harmon sent you pictures.
Yeah, what is that?
Are you sure these are good?
Oh yeah. These are the
these aren't dodgy.
No, do you remember the 1800s femme fatale? You can just let me share a screen. I'll show you the picture.
Hang on.
That too.
They're not downloaded for me for some reason.
Oh yeah. He'll just give me permission.
Hang on.
It's a security risk thing, Patrick.
Hurry up.
Okay.
Everything on Zoom is a security risk.
Yeah.
Life is a security risk.
Waking up. Here, I gave you the screen.
So Patrick wasn't on the call when I showed you guys these. Patrick, you see the ring now?
I need this. I know exactly where this is going.
Is that the coolest or what?
That is fantastic.
Look at the kit. Oh my Lord.
So
I saved this in a file for Patrick as soon as we did it, because I said, I've got to share this with him.
So how do you avoid accidentally, there's no safety on that.
Details, Diana.
That's why you have a lot of lovers.
Very cool.
Isn't that the type of firearm that you push it onto somebody and it fires it? So you stab them with it almost?
That's a different one.
Oh.
That was when they made in World War II as what they called the last ditch, I think. And it was actually a pressure point on a glove that you could punch somebody and it
got it.
45 round.
I thought there was something
show and tell
world.
Of vintage things. I'm actually rather proud of my latest acquisition. So I just got this. This is a Sekonic. And this is the one of 2000 commemorating the 1 millionth
Oh my Lord.
L398 Sekonic. Gold plated.
Oh,
Go
dope.
back, Patrick, please, Marcel. Yeah,
Absolutely cool as shit.
beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Blue in the box.
Very nice.
That's gorgeous. Are
Came
you
with
gonna
a
actually
certificate
use that, or is
certificate
that
of
for?
authenticity from Japan? It's very cool.
Are you gonna
Awesome.
actually use that, or is that just for decoration?
No, I'm going to use this. This is fantastic.
Yeah.
Every one of my mentors had the L398, and I never had one. I was always the young hot shit with the digital crap. And I was like, wow, this is like just one of those tried and true things. There's no batteries, there's nothing. You just hit the button, it works. Like, this is an Alan Edelman special, man.
Hey, Cosmo, did you see that? Did you
That's
see that meter that
exactly
Ben
right.
had today? That was a sick meter.
Which meter?
What was it? Do you know, Cosmo?
No idea. But yeah, it was cool.
Ben at Zenith today had this meter that he was using to measure between the Roby and the Martin fixture. And I mean, it was a crazy meter. It did foot candles, lux, color temperature, and something else.
Yeah, it's a 8,000, right? It was 8,000. I got one right here somewhere.
It was nice. It was a really nice meter.
So I usually use the Sekonic 700, and we got
that's what I got
when they first came out. They're really fantastic, and they're one of the few meters at their time that could do LED readings, because what people didn't realize was that more traditional meters couldn't read the fluctuation in LED wavelength, and so these became real popular. They're very slow. It takes a long time for it to actually, once you get the reading, for it to come back to you. So you spend a lot of time messing around with it. But it's got a ton of new great features. It's got, like, it can give you multiple readouts. So when you're doing multiple follow spot readings on stage and you try to calibrate everything to the lowest common denominator, you can do stuff like that pretty well. At the end of the day, there's a company called Lumu that came out with a lightning adapter for
the
iPhone that I put it side by side by a $2,800 Sekonic, and it's right along next to it within 50 foot candles, and
You
does
must be talking about
everything
this
it
one.
does. They're fantastic, and for the cost at like $350 from B&H, why every LD is not running around with two of those in his bag? It's fine.
Yeah, our crew actually has those. The MEs actually have those ones.
They're great
because we spent all that money on the
I can tell you they
Sekonic.
work great.
They work fantastic.
Yeah. We're not running around with them because we spent all that freaking money on the Sekonic.
Yeah, it's crazy. You sell that shit
Yeah.
and go get yourself a bunch of these.
I know, right?
Anyway, I still think yours is cooler, Patrick. Your gold plated one.
I just wanted it because we gold plated.
That is pretty cool. That is pretty cool. See you, Matt. Marcia, you said you wanted to show something. What do you got?
I do. Can you do a screen share and I'll see if I can.
You click on screen share. Click on screen share and then select whichever screen you want to share.
I have to hang on. I have to go back and do something. Where am I in Zoom or am I in? Oh shit.
Oh, fun while it lasted, Marsh. Thanks.
Marcia needs an IT person.
Am I
Bottom
in
center.
Share screen. Thank you. Cool. And desktop share, and now yes, allow it. Is it doing it? No.
Not yet.
There's always one more button to click that says, I'm ready to actually go through with it.
For God fucking sake.
Really want to share your screen?
Maybe I should just give you some pictures. It will not be able to record quit now. Let me just fuck this. I don't know how to do this. I'm going to put some pictures in the chat perhaps, or I will try to send this out. I don't know how, but the bottom line was on my road trip, I stopped and saw someone I hadn't seen for 49 and a half years. And the short story is that I saw him last at the Democratic National Convention of 1972. And I think I showed you guys all the little key when I was at the special things that I got from him and to the Delegates Club and all this other stuff a few Zooms ago. Well, I saw Rufus and it was a great meeting. And I will try to attach some pictures up here. Marcel, you particularly will like this. We met at 10 in the morning and by 10:30 we were in his back office smoking cigars.
There you go.
And having a great meeting. Rufus sent me home with one of his cigars, which has his little special, someone custom made some for him. The band is Rufus. And he sent me home with a bar mat from the US Senate But the coolest thing about seeing Rufus again was in 1974, he was the guy who ran the Watergate hearings. And what I would try to upload if I'm not telling this story is a photograph I took of him and me with our cigars in hand, standing in front of the gavel he used at the Watergate hearings. And also framed underneath that was the subpoena that was served to Nixon for the tapes. And then I have 4 other photographs of something else that was framed in another side of his office, which was the original subpoena for all the documents and paperwork, with all of the names of the serving members of the committee, including a white-outed correction used, like, this is very 1974, we used whiteout to correct things. And they had a misspell, a typo in John Mitchell's name, and it was corrected by whiteout. So he has those original documents framed, and those are the pictures I wanted to share. And that's why I don't know why I can't do this, but.
That's before the CIA invented black marker.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see, let me see if I can add these photos into.
Okay, work on that for a minute. Peter. What do you got going on? Anything yet?
No. Twiddling my toes.
But Peter, did you get your Haggerty magazine like I talked to you the other day about?
I'm sorry. Did I get what?
The Haggerty
Oh,
magazine.
yeah. I saw that. Yeah.
Did you see where he drove around where I live? It was kind of weird, right?
Yeah, but it wasn't me involved with that.
Yeah, I thought it was, man. Sorry.
No.
Now I gotta take that trip just like he did in the middle of the night. You got to read it. It's a pretty good article.
Yeah, it was interesting.
And Marcia, these are huge files.
So what would you like from me?
Small
I'm not
files.
really sure what to do. I'll try to get them into smaller files and send them out and show them to you next week. Okay, guys?
They're loading.
Or Peter. Or I guess I got to do the midnight run up to your house and have breakfast up there and then drive back.
As long as you show up at breakfast and not at midnight. It's good.
Yeah, it'll take me a while.
Peter, you got nobody going out this year?
Well, don't know yet. So far, nothing's going on. Two residencies were, postponed. So hard to say.
Yeah.
Mostly, the closest I can come is 2022 so far.
Yeah. I mean, it seems to me that the somebody's TV is blasting or.
It's Rob.
An open mic.
Rob?
Rob?
Yeah.
There is no more Rob.
Yeah, it was Rob. I just
Mike's
muted him.
on
Just headset.
Hey, before the day gets away from us, happy Cinco de Mayo.
Absolutely. I'm out of beer though.
All right. Yes. Happy Cinco de Mayo.
Today's the day. You're right.
Usually here in South Florida, I mean, it's not as bad as LA, but
Happy Cinco de Mayo.
up in the air and
Well,
they land and kill someone every year. Rob, we muted you because it got a little
Anniversary
noisy.
of Alan Shepard going into space.
Oh shit, I'm sorry. I didn't know I was
All good.
unmuted.
All good.
we heard it all. Don't worry.
Hey,
about
don't worry, we're not going to call him.
Tonight's winning lottery numbers. Shit.
They have to share it.
All right, folks, I'm going to go drink and eat tacos.
All right.
Have some tequila.
Peace.
Uh-huh.
Peace out.
Bye, everybody.